Welcome back. This is Corinne from the Sewing Works, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about how to square up your blocks after you've embroidered on them. So generally speaking, when you cut your blocks out and create your backgrounds, they're going to be anywhere from an inch on every side to an inch and a half on every side bigger than you need. So after you've embroidered, you'll get some shrink in from your design, and then we're going to talk about how to make sure you get this motif placed correctly in your final product. So let's go over to the cutting table. All right, so before you get to your cutting table, it's important to press your fabric to get all of those hoop lines and extra puckering out that you can. So when you take this to the ironing board, you're going to iron it from the back side, and I like to use this product called Flatter, which seems to get the puckers out from the edges of your embroidery the best. So I lightly mist the Flatter on, let it set for about 1 to 2 seconds, and then press it dry with your iron. Once you have it nice and flat, you're ready to trim. Whenever you're squaring up a block, you want to use a square ruler that's bigger than your block. So I have a 12.5 ruler here, which is just slightly bigger than my block. I want to finish cutting this block out at 10 3/8 inch. So my other favorite product I like to use is this Glow Line tape. It comes in several colors in a pack. This happens to be the yellow one. And I can peel it off and place it down exactly where my edge of my square is going to be. So I'm finding that 10 3/4 inch mark, and then I'm going to mark that with my Glow Line tape. So I don't have to think quite so much. And that way, if I have multiple blocks this size, I can just keep going using the same ruler setup with my Glow Line tape. So let me get that all in place and we'll go to the next step. Now that we have our Glow Line tape in place, you can decide. I have set my Glow Line tape on so that the tape will be outside of my block. So the cut edge will ride just on the inside of this tape. You may place yours so it's on the outside if you prefer. So my 10 3/8 line is just on the inside of this block here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start to center this design. So half of 10 is 5 and half of 3/8 is an 1/8. Basically, I don't have 16ths on my ruler. So I'm going to go to 5 and an 1/8, and then just kind of change, split the difference between that and the 1/4 inch line. And I might just tweak this a little bit so that I can see my background piecing is now on the 45. And then the final checks that I want to do is I want to see how far, oh sorry, that light is really glaring on that ruler, isn't it? I want to see how far the motif is from each edge. So right here I have 2 1/4 inches, and on this side I have 2 3/8 inches. So I might want to fudge it just a little bit that way to kind of split the difference here. And you're looking this way too. I've got about 2 inches to the dots on the flower, and I have a little more than 2 inches this way. So you're just kind of shimmying it back and forth, checking both sides. Takes a little bit of math. Just be patient. You want to make sure everything is in its place before you cut anything. So we have about 2 inches there and 2 inches there and 2 inches, a little more than 2 inches there. Okay, once I have really checked and made sure that my edges are all where, fairly even on this side of the motif and this side of the motif, I'm going to go ahead and cut on my right side and my top because I'm right-handed. So let me go grab my rotary cutter and we'll do that. Okay, so now it's all trimmed up. As you can see, we actually weighted it a little bit towards the bottom. That's something you can do intentionally when you're checking your distance above and below your motif. It's a little more appealing to the eye to have that motif set down 1/4 to 1/2 an inch rather than centered directly inside. So especially with something like this, which is a weighted object, having it just a hair down from center is actually a little more appealing. So that's a little bit about squaring up. Obviously this one's on point. You use the same technique when you're doing a block that's oriented directly up and down in a square. Thank you again for joining us today. Good luck squaring up your blocks and enjoy the process. Remember, take time to double check, triple check all those measurements on the side before you actually take the rotary cutter to it. Good luck!